This is Gemara Sanhedrin Daf Nun Aleph. All the learning should be an incredible schos rafua shlema for Tinok ben Miriam Ahuva b'siyata d'shmaya the koyach ha'torah, which of course knows no bounds. Talmud Torah kenegei kulam should bring Tinok ben Miriam Ahuva a complete rafua shlema be'karev. As well as we'd also like to dedicate tonight's shir as a rafua shlema for Rafal Elimelech ben Miriam. The Siyata D'Shemaya, the Koyach HaTorah should allow the surgery, as well as all ensuing procedures to be successful. And Amir Hashem, the Rovich Chalbasar, should bring Rafal Elimelech ben Miriam, as well as Tinok ben Miriam Ahuva, a complete Rafua Shalima. So we're holding on Nunam Beis. We're 5 lines from the wide lines, and the Gemara says, "My Reb Shimon." What is the source for Reb Shimon? Now, Reb Shimon, we have to go back to Nunam and Aleph. And on Nunam and Aleph, we had a shita of Rav Shimon. Now, the shita of Rav Shimon, on Nunam and Aleph, was whether the girl is a Nesua, whether she is a Arusa, who was a Bas Koyin, who was Mizaneh, the level of killing that she gets is Sreifa. Sreifa, says the Gemara, my Rav Shimon. Where does Rav Shimon know this thing? That such a girl, the punishment is both going to be Sreifa, both for Nesua and an Arusa. Titania, we learned in a Brayser of Shimon Omer. There are 2 general rules that are said by a Bas Koyin, one by an Arusa and one by a Nesua. Brachato Adino, Yelihinu Melech Elam She'akol. Says the Gemara, Bibas Koyin, v'lo Bibas Yisrael. One second. Are these rules only by a Bas Koyin? Says no. Ema af Bibas Koyin. Okay, so there's 2 klalim said by Bas Yisrael and by a Bas Koyin. What are these klalim? V'hoitzi akasav Nisua, and the pasuk takes out a Nisua, Michlal Nisua, Va'arusa, Michlal Arusa. And the pasuk excludes a Nisua of a koyin from a Nisua of Yisrael, and Arusa of a koyin of an Arusa Yisrael. What does that mean? What does the pasuk mean when it says that the Nisua of a koyin is different than the Nisua of Yisrael? Is lahachmir, is to be strict. Av kishaitzi in the first white line, akasav Arusa michlal Arusa lahachmir, is to be strict. Therefore, says Rav Shimon, this is his mikar. And excuse me, in the Hakdama I said it that off. Not just that these girls are chayiv sreifa, but rather deeper, that sreifa is more chamer than skila. That's the raya. Continues the Braisa, Zaymi Nisua, Bas Koyin, Bechlal Zaymi Nisua, Bas Yisrael. The Eden Zaymin of an Nisua is the same as Inim Zaymin of an Arusa. V'Zaymi Arusa, Bas Koyin, Bechlal Zaymi Arusa, Bas Yisrael. And it's going to be the same punishment. That's the end of the Braisa. But this is the Makar to Rav Shimon that Sreifa is more chamer than the conventional skila. Says the Gemara, let's go a little bit deeper into this din. Tanura Abananu Bas Ish Kayin Ki Seichel. Says the Torah, the door of a Kayin is Seichel's profanes. What does that mean? Yachal, I would think Avilu Chalala as a Shabbos. Maybe even if she just Bechal Shabbos, not just, but maybe that's the Aveira. Tamalay Mar, the pasuk continues, is noise. Bechlul Shabbos nos. I call some medaber. We're talking about the profanity to profane her kuna via zenos. Yachol continues the Braisa Afilu Penuya, even if she's unmarried. Nemarkan on the 5th, wide line. Nemarkan, it says over here, Aviyah, V'nemarlalon Aviyah Malalon zenos im zikas abal, Afkan zenos im zikas abal. Just like the prior psukim that it talks about zinos, it's a type of zinos in which there is a baal's involvement, we'll call it. There's a zika of the husband, whether it's arus or nesua, that's a point of discussion, but there is a husband on the table. So too, afkan zinos zika sabah, oyein, maybe, oymer aviyah, elal haitzias kol adam. Maybe the reason why it says aviyah, says the Gemara, is to exclude kol adam, is to teach us that specifically regarding the zinus with her father, there is sreifa, but not if she's mizana with anyone else. Meaning, we're trying to figure out how localized we should view this gezerah shava of aviyah. Says the Gemara Kishuaimer when the pasuk says he michaleles. When the pasuk says she profanes, havikol adam amr. So, about any type of profaning of her kuna, any person. Hamani makayim. So, what do we do with aviyah? Nemar kan aviyah, menavnalan aviyah, malalan znos imzikas abal, av kan znos imzikas abal, and therefore says the Gemara must be that she's married at some level. Ask the Gemara, wait, malalan naira vihi arusa, av kan naira vihi arusa. Answers the Gemara, naira vihi nisua, bogeres vihi arusa, bogeres vihi nisua, vafilu eskina minayin. So how do we know all other forms of relations that she was prior bibal, the other forms of zikas bibal? Tamalay bas kayin mikol makim. Continues the Brisa. Bas kayin, for the fact that it says bas kayin as we turn over to nun aleph amid aleph ein li ela. For the fact that it says bas kayin, we only know shenisis. La koyin, if she's married to a koyin. However, nisays the Levi, if she's married to a Levi, uli Yisrael le'akom, or a case of a Yisrael, an akom, lecholol, lemamzer, lenesin minayin. How do we know any other form of relationship? Meaning, how do we know that this punishment of sereifa applies to any other scenario, any other form of zika, any other baal? Even though at this point she might not have the status of a koyanes. Why? Because of whom she married, a chalol, etc. She loses her status of a koyanes, but she would still be machayev sreifa. Says the Gemara, he bisreifa ve'ein boy Allah bisreifa. He bisreifa ve'ein zemimel bisreifa. So says the Brisa, only she is chayiv sreifa, but not the bayala or the idim zaymim. Whereas Rav Eliezer Omer at the end of the first white line, esavia bisreifa, veschamia bis gila. Now that's the end of this long and lengthy Brisa. Now in classical Gemara sense, we're going to take this long Brisa, which again we brought down to prove what the din of sreifa is, and we're going to dissect it piece by piece. Omar Mar, says the Gemara in the second one line. The Brisa began and said, what does it mean, chilala? Yachlavilu chilala Shabbos. Chilala Shabbos. Baskila, he asked the Gemara. What do you mean? B'chal Shabbos is skila, not sreifa. Omar Rava, Mani Rav Shimni, Damar Sreifa Chamura, as we started. Just like the Torah is more machmir with regards to koyanim. Rabbi mitzvahs and avek mitzvah. He's tainted b'sreifa to get sreifa. So you would think that maybe Shabbos is tainted b'sreifa. Kamash malad. Then no, Shabbos is skila. My shana minei didei, says the Gemara. But what's there seen her and her father? I would think that she, her herself, that a regular koyin, there is times when Shabbos is deicha due to the avodah. So therefore, maybe if there's a level of chilul Shabbos, maybe it would have the same din of skila like everyone else. Whereas he, by the bas koyin, give the ishtariyah Shabbos legabah. She, of course, does not do the avodah. So there's never a time where Shabbos is mutter to her. So maybe again within this world of Rav Shimon, so maybe she would get the punishment of sreifa. Kamash malon. Then no, she is included in this pasuk that she gets. That she would get the same punishment of chil Shabbos of skila. Says the Gemara, Yachal, I would think afilu penuya. I would think even if she is a penuya, she had the same punishment. It says Mahal is nice, but it says mizaneh. Zunos, by its very definition, means a married woman. Says Gemara Kidder of Elazar, the Amar Panuya Abal Panuya Lishum Shaloi Lishum Ishos Stam relations Asa Zaina. Says Merba, wait, Shezinsa me avia. Says the Gemara, then what's the pasuk teaching us? Shezinsa me avia. She was Zana with her father. Ma Arya bas kayin. Afilu bas Yisrael nami. Says the Gemara, and this has nothing to do with the bas kayin. A bas Yisrael that's Mizana with her father gets the same din. Dama Rava Amarli Rav Yitzchak bar Avdimi. Asya hine. Asya zima zima. That's going to be the same punishment. Says the Gemara, it's Rikosal. I would think the pasuk coming to exclude from Rava. That the Torah revealed that the Shrif was by a Bas Kayin and not a Bas Yisrael. Kamash Malon. Therefore, says the pasuk that Mechalas Aviyah. It means not just Aviyah, but anyone else. Continue the Bryce of Askayin, Aini Ella, Genesis Likayin, is living with Isola Akam, the Cholun is sin. The Mams are Minayin, Damlam Rabas Ish Kayin. Afal P. Sheina Kayanes, that was a quote of the Bryce, asks the Gemara, Misham Din Savia, Lulahani Lavas Kayini. So we explain that she loses her status of Kavhuna by marrying a Chol, but says the Gemara, is she not considered a Bas Kayin by marrying these illegal people? Visu Midi. Kayanis l'kayin ksif, and also the pasuk says remember kayanis to a kayin. Answers the Gemara. And what does that mean? Hani mili hashta. Then this is the ma'isa of mitchalya. This is the ma'isa in which she profanes herself. But in a scenario which she was already profane, given the mechalya v'kaima meikara, that she already was in such a status. Tamar mar baskain skeli ishdar kim shenevel apostle la pasla. She becomes basal. So we think that that case is not included. Levi Yisrael nami. So I would think similarly Levi Yisrael that what v'shavel beisavia can rab mechlal b'chiasi gabei lo yachla, that only when she's by a non-kain she doesn't eat truma. I would think lotida b'sreifa kash malon, that a bas kain gets reifa regardless of who her husband was. Says the Gemara, 1 second, that this is all delay kirameir. Why? Titania bas kain shisi sav achla truma mishalem is a karamin mishalem is a chaim misas b'sreifa nisis la'acher min absulim la'acher min absulim shemasel that's possible mishalem is karen v'chaim misas b'chenek tivi rameir v'chachamim ma'imrim zuv mishalem is karen v'chaim misas b'sreifa. Rav Lazaimer as avia b'sreifa v'schamia b'skila ma'is avia b'sreifa v'savia b'skila, says the Gemara. Ma'is avia v'schamia ilay mas avia v'schamia mechamia ma'ir bas kain v'bas yal nami pita b'sreifa, says the Gemara. The reason is excuse me, I knew something didn't make any sense. 1 second, let's go back. Right before Rav Eliezer, the Gemara concluded misasa b'sreifa. So the Gemara concluded that the Bryce is clearly not like Rameir. This is the like Rameir, because according to Rameir, the din is different. According to Rameir, once you're married to an apostle, the misa is going to be bechenek. Now continues the Gemara going back to the Bryce. Rav Lezer mesavia b'sreifa v'schamia b'skila. Ask the Gemara mesavia v'schamia. What does that mean? Ila mesavia me'avia v'schamia mechamia. My area basket of Bas Yisrael nami. Even a Bas Yisrael should have the same din. Bitai b'sreifa. Says the Gemara, Afilu b'Yisrael nami bitai b'sreifa v'kalasa b'skila. Elas avia b'rshos avia v'schamir b'rshos chamir. It means b'rshos and kiman. Who does this go like? And again, Bereshus over here doesn't mean permission. It means in the possession. It means she did erusin. As Chamia, you have a father-in-law once you did nisuin. So Avia v'Chamia over here connotes whether it was erusin or whether it was nisuin. Says Gemara, Keman, whom is this like? Ikar Rabban Amar nisu yatzas l'sreifa v'lo erusa. Ikar Rav Shemin Amar achas arus v'ach nisu l'kisreifa. Ikar Rav Yishmael Amar arusa yatzas l'sreifa lo nisua. As Chamia Chaneku. So who is the Shita that we're going with? Says the Gemara, Shalach Ravin, Mishmei de Rav Yesi, Rav Chanina, 5 lines to the bottom, Kachi Hatzah Shal Mishnah. This is the Hatzah, the arrangement, the potential answer. Oh, Rav Elazar said, La'olam really Kirabon. Vachi Gomer. Kolshu lemata mimisa. Anyone who is lemata mimisas avia. Whenever the Torah says when a woman is mizaneh, it's underneath the severity of misa. If she would have been with avia, umayni, what is that? Nisuas bas Yisrael. That's the case of Nisuas bas Yisrael. De'ilu, why? De'ilu Nisuas bas Yisrael is bechanek. Hacha b'misas avia b'sreifa. Whereas kol shila ma'ila b'misas, if it's more chamer, umayni, what is that? That's a case of 2 lines on the bottom. Arusa bas Yisrael. Tila arusa bas Yisrael ba'alma b'skila, hacha b'misas chamia b'skila. That's what the Bryce is coming to teach us. But says the Gemara really could stick that it indeed is the shita of the Rabbanan. But Maskeva Rav Yirmiyah on the last line, Midila Ma'ila Mata Katani. Where do you get this from? Says Rav Yirmiyah. Where do you see that we're equating to a regular form of Misa Lamata Lamaila? Elam Rav Yirmiyah, says Rav Yirmiyah, as we turn over to Nun Aleph Mebei, says Rav Yirmiyah, La'ilam, I'll tell you really what's going on over here. Says Rav Yirmiyah, really we're going with Shitas Rabbi Yishmael. And this is how we can explain the Brisa. And that's what it's coming to teach us, that if she was with her father, if she already did Erusin, then this Reifa. If she already did Nisuin, she gets Skila. But if she's with anyone else, then she gets chenek. Says the Gemara, Marava, 1 second, Ma'ishina. I don't understand what's going on over here. Oidividi mamish. Oidividi rishos. What's going on? The parallelism in the Brisa doesn't allow you to say such a thing. Either idividi mamish. Either she was mamish with her father, she mamish was with her chamia, meaning she was mezana with them, or it means rishos in the domain, in nisuin and erisin. How do you split the two? How can you tell me that one means mamish, one means not? So says the Gemara, Elam Arav is attempt number 3, La'ilam Karev Shemin. And Arusa bumps down a level from skila to shreifa, and Nesua chadarga maskinula mechanek leeskila, and that's where skila is going to become. Says Mara, wait, maskula Rav Chanina, 10 lines down. The first line is law. Ha'idividi Rav Shimon b'shreifa ka'amar. Says Mara, I don't understand. How you telling me? I was like Rav Shimon. Rav Shimon says everyone gets shreifa, and there's no split between the two. Elam Ravina, 4th Shalom Karabanan ve'epoch. We got to switch around the words of the Brisa. Savia beskila v'schamia b'sreifa. V'aytkamer savia sircha ba'alma nokat. And why lemaisa did he say esavia? Why didn't he just say erisin? Why do we use these l'shainis? It's a funny thing to utilize the word esavia to mean erisin. Says Gemara sircha ba'alma nokat. That's a regular just a stam phraseology, a stam term that the Tanakama used. So he used it as well. Continues the Gemara, the 2 dots, about 15 lines down onto Nun Alpha Mebeis. Amar Rav Nachman, Amar Rav Bar Avua, Amar Rav Halach. The following is the halacha. Kedshal Gravim Mishmid Rav Yosi, Rav Chanina. That is the halacha. Amar Rav Yosi Helchasa Lemeshicha. You're giving halacha for the days of Meshicha when we're going to have Dalin Mislis Bezdin. What are you telling me? Amar le'abaya elamiata shchitas kashin loy lisni achasa loy lisni why achasa l'mashicha. Do we now learn all about karbanis? We're going to be learning kashin next year. Do we now learn them? It's all for Mashiach. Ela drosh v'kabel schar achanami drosh v'kabel schar. Achanami is not relevant right now. We're doing it for the days of Mashiach. Says the Gemara Hachikamer Helchasa Lamali Sugya Dishmaitza Halachikamar. What is the point? Was his kasha? The question was that we needed to know what Rav Eliezer holds. We don't need to know what the halach is. We have to know what the sugya d'shmaitz is. What is pshat in his words? So says the Gemara, my Rabbi Yishmael. So who is this Rabbi Yishmael that we're talking about? The Tanya Basish Kain Kisecha Liznais Benaira. V'hi Arusa Akasa Medaberat. When Rabbi Arusa Ein Ela Befilu Nisua. Tamalai Mar Ish Sheyina. If it's Ish Re'eyu Mais Yumas. Ha Noyev Anu Efes. They both should be put to death. Ha Kol Aya B'Chlal Noyev Anu Efes. Haiti Akasa Bas Yisrael Beskilo Bas Kain Besreifa. Both of those are excluded. Why? Ma kishaiti akasves bas Yisrael beskila arusa v'lo nisua. Afshoti kasavas kain b'sreifa arusa v'lo nisua. And similarly, the Brisa teaches us they're both included in kasher zamam. Says, whoa, 1 second. Bayalel? What does that mean? My kasher zamam mika. Kasher zamam is on the edim. Is that on the bayalel? Not the one that was mizanel or zaymamel. Bechlal misas bayalel. The same misa. Mishum shenam. Ravisi like kasher zamam. Lastly, la'achiv v'loy la'achaisai divrei Rabbi Yishmael. Rabbi Akiva imer achas arusa v'achas esu yatzasas l'sreif. Yachla afilu penuya nemar kan avia v'nemar lahalun avia malahalun znosim zikas abal avkan znos im zikas abal. Amr Rabbi Yishmael that they already married. Imar lahalun naira v'arusa avkan naira v'hi arusa on the first white line. Amr Rabbi Akiva Rabbi Yishmael. So Rabbi Akiva responds to Rabbi Yishmael. Achi, my brother, bas ubas ani dairish. He said to Rabbi Yishmael, what's going on over here? Bas ubas, I'm learning. Amr Rishol responds, Chimimnei, Sha'ata dairish bas ubas, noifsi zulis reifa. It's because you darish the bas ubas, we're excluding from sreifa. The fact about said mashmala havias and esua to include havias benuya and to include the benuya. Ve'im mashma loitzias benuya v'otzias and esua. And if the Xer Shava is to exclude them, then exclude them. So Yishmael says, Rabbi Akiva, whichever way you do, you gotta choose one side and stick with it. For Rabbi Akiva, we conclude, says the Gemara, Hani Xer Shava l'mute benuya v'ani basu bas l'rabba isis and esua. So he has two different drashas, one to include and one to exclude. Now, what Rabbi Yishmael holds, we're going to have to pick up from over here, B'siyata Dishmaya.